Welcome, everybody, to a postseason edition of the Blue Jays Center podcast, brought to you by the Sick Podcast Network, along with Rob and Tillamon Colwist, and I'm James Price. Boys, we had so much to touch on, and it's all positive because the Blue Jays, we all know, have clinched the AL East title. 162 come and gone, 94 and 68. We'll get into it all. We'll talk about our over-unders and see what looked good, what did not. We will also talk about, of course, Yankees or Red Sox. We'll talk about what we want, what we think is going to happen, all that stuff starting right now.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to the Sick Podcast. Blue Jays Center.
Bautista drives it deep left field. Gone!
The sickest Toronto Blue Jays podcast. It's gonna be sick.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 162 freaking games by this damn team, it has been a roller coaster ride, and we are going to touch on like all the peaks and valleys of this season because, boy, what a year. 94 and 68, 94 wins, and your Toronto Blue Jays on game 162 clinched the AL East. I mean, I think this question can be answered very simply, but, boys, how we feeling?
Absolutely.
Billy Bean from Moneyball.
Jacked.
Go ahead.
There you go.
Billy Bean from Moneyball. How can you not be romantic about baseball? A Blue Jays team that won 74 games. The vibes were just awful heading into the season. Vlad's not signed. Another offseason where we do nothing. Can we get Shapiro and Atkins out of here? And all of a sudden, after 162, the Blue Jays somehow, some way finished number one in the American League East, the first seed, winning the AL East for the first time since 2015, the second time in the Blue Jays Center history, first time in the history of this podcast. So an incredible year. And so much more to go, fellas.
Oh, yeah.
Not only the first seed in the American League East, we were the best team in the American freaking league this year. Like a 20-win differential from last year. And you're not just your own division champion. You were the best team in the American League.
Yeah.
Absolutely ridiculous.
And let's be honest, boys, it looked quite bleak. Just 4 or 5 games ago, having the offense turn back to a full-on pumpkin from April and May, and watching the Yankees play some tomato cans and beating the crap out of them. We're like, this is bad. You got a finale against the Red Sox, and then you got 3 against the Rays. I don't care where you're playing. It's that damn team.
Yep.
Albeit the Jays were like, we don't care.
Yep.
And they went out there and beat the Red Sox and swept the damn Rays at home. Capped off by, speaking of Captain Kirk, getting it done there in game 162 with 6 RBIs, 2 bombs, the grand slam. You couldn't have wrote it any better. Dude is about my height, built like a bowling ball, and he gets it done. I absolutely love it.
I said 2 things in the chat yesterday. Number one, I had no idea how an undersized man from Tijuana, Mexico could bring a whole city so much joy, but he did. Alejandro Kirk, we can talk about this a little bit later on.
Whole country, 2 countries. Yeah. 2 countries.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. Where that moment ranks in the all-time Blue Jays clutch performance, not even Blue Jays clutch, Toronto sports performance, but also I think the biggest reason is that they did it the right way. You look at back in 2022 and 2023, the last few times they made the playoffs, they backed into the playoffs, they clinched on an off day, and it felt like it took away from the experience. I know that it shouldn't matter all that much, and maybe if the Jays went on to win a few playoff series, that wouldn't have mattered. But because they didn't, we think about the moments, and it felt like we got a legitimate moment, a moment that stands out. We have a theme of the season. Back in those years, there was nothing to really remember. Now we'll always remember the Dalton Varsho grand slam. We'll always remember the Alejandro Kirk 2 home runs that he had in the series finale against Tampa. This is a season that's already starting to form legitimate memories. You look at even before this past homestand, all season long, the George Springer's grand slam against the Yankees on Canada Day. That's the series that sort of elevated us over the top of them, and we never looked back, never relinquished that lead. Mason Fluharty striking out Shohei Ohtani in LA, Bo Bichette, the 2-run home run against Texas. It just feels like this is a moment-filled season. Anytime you have an exciting year like this, you want to have these moments. And for the first time in forever, the Jays are having legitimate moments that we'll never forget.
Yeah. Today was the off day, obviously, after the 162 was concluded. And 4 games ago, this Toronto Blue Jays team was tied with the New York Yankees, who also had 4 games left in the regular season. You needed to do just as good as the Yankees or better to win this division. You had 1 against the Red Sox and, like James mentioned, 3 against the Tampa Bay Rays. The Yankees were finishing off a White Sox series and then had 3 against the Orioles. The Yankees won all 4. The only way you were able to accomplish this is if you won out and, like James said, swept the Tampa Bay Rays in your building. And every game, the 5th inning roughly came and you're like, oh, God, are we going to be able to pull this out? Because the Yankees are up 3 in Baltimore. Up 3 against Baltimore in New York. And every time the Jays did it, and like Rob said, you clinched with a sweep at home against a division rival. There's no better way to do it. And we talk about having meaningful baseball, and even us wouldn't have predicted it coming down to every single game in the last week of the season. It wouldn't have been predicted. So absolutely unbelievable. 94 wins can't be understated. This team went over under win projection, which we will get into, was 84 wins, and they finished double digits above that. Absolutely unbelievable. Like, this city hasn't seen a division title in a decade. This city hasn't seen a team this good in a decade. And finally, like Rob said, there's been more than a handful of moments throughout this season that has united this country to this Blue Jays team. And now, on top of all of this, we get to head into the postseason with a Yankees-Red Sox wild card, and the winner gets us, a division rival in the ALDS, in our building. Like, it literally could not have been better.
You know what's funny?
I think if you go big picture, go ahead, Pricey.
Well, I mean, since we're doing a lot of reminiscing here, and I know, Rob, you mentioned a lot of the games that kind of turned the tides of the year. I go back to 2021, right? Because that's the year that we all look back on as like, man, if only, right? And we can look back at so many different games in that year of like, if they won that, it's all different. We obviously all look back to that Tigers game with Marcus Semien as just like a nightmare fuel type of mindset. But this year, with you winning 94 games, with, again, like we talked about, like Cole was mentioning, you needed to win everything. Yeah. Every game down the stretch was important. We can go back to so many different games where, one, you felt dead to right, and you're like, this is over. I'm going to go back to a game that not many people have talked about when they've done this reminiscing. People talk about the Bo Bichette one where they've kind of turned the tides. I'm going to go back to a game that the Jays played in St. Louis against the Cardinals. You were down a run going in the 9th inning. Ryan Helsley on the mound. Jonathan Clase took him deep to tie it, and then you won it in extras. Who in their right mind would have imagined that? Now,
Clase didn't even finish the season. Didn't even finish the season with the team. Yeah.
God, did he even finish July? I don't know. Yeah. And then you go to a Diamondbacks game at Rogers Center where you're down a run late. Barger and Bo go back-to-back to walk it off of Shelby Miller, who, if you look at the numbers at that point of the year, he had been unhittable. And it's this team. I've said it all the time. Every single time you think they're dead, they're done, they're cooked, done and dusted. They're like, yeah, you think so? Punch you in the face. We're back, baby. Let's be honest, fellas. After the Yankees tied us there and we had 4 games to go, the offense was deceased. It looked awful. Nobody in the right mind thought they were going to hang on to that lead. Seeing what their schedule was like, seeing what our schedule was like. We got 3 against the Rays. It didn't look good at all. And they found a way to do it. Every single time. It's remarkable. Baseball's beautiful.
Like you said,
you want to reminisce even further. You wanted to talk about that stretch. The stretch, you had 5 legitimate all-star ace-type pitchers. Robbie Ray, Logan Webb, Max Fried, Carlos Rodon, Tarek Skubal, all in the span of a week, right out of the all-star break, and you won all 5 of those games, too. And also, one thing, Pricey, about the St. Louis game, a little more backstory to that game. Jonathan Clase's home run came fresh off the Cardinals scoring 4 in the bottom of the 8th to turn a 3-0 Blue Jays lead into now a 4-3 deficit, just like that. And then all of a sudden, Jonathan Clase goes deep after all the momentum shifted right back to the home side in St. Louis. And Jonathan Clase, probably the least likely guy to go deep off a guy throwing 100+, just rips the heart of the St. Louis faithful. They went on to sweep that series, too. That was the first game of a 3-gamer. They swept that series. That was part of a huge run at the beginning of June when they turned it all around. So a lot of reminiscing to do with this team.
One more before
I'm having a lot of fun.
one more before I let Cole jump in here.
Let's do it.
Let's go to that Orioles series at Camden Yards where we all wanted to just lay down and die, where everything was going wrong. It was a complete disaster. And then the
right
finale,
after the trade deadline, right?
Yeah, exactly. And Miles Straw is going to go deep, drive in 3 runs, have 3 hits, and then Nathan Lucas is going to hit a 3-run bomb to give you the what? Like, no one expected that, especially the way that team. I mean, you lost 11-4, 16-4, and then 3-2. That was in the doubleheader. And then with like no bullpen left, you're like, well, we probably gonna lose this one. And I think didn't Barrios get that start in the finale there?
Yeah, it was. Yep.
Yeah, it was Jose Barrios went 4 1/3, allowed 5 runs. No bueno. He was no good, and they found a way to win that ball game. Again, these are 1 games here and there, but it's just that's all you needed was 1.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned the vibes even going into this week. There was a 7-game stretch where in 6 of those games you scored 1 run or less. We had to come out of a stretch that was literally as bad as it gets in baseball, as bad as it gets for a 94-win team at the end of September. Your star player hit 2 home runs in all of September, and it was in the first week of September. So Vladimir Guerrero Jr. hasn't hit a home run since September 5th. Alejandro Kirk has just as many home runs on Sunday as Vladdy had all of September. So it was about the guys, the Nathan Lucases, the Miles Straws, guys that we didn't even think would make the 26-man roster at the end of September that had to contribute to this team. Like, we got to the end of the season, and Nathan Lucas and Dalton Varsho were batting in the same lineup. Like, that's a scenario we wouldn't have predicted at the start of the season. So, absolutely unbelievable. Nathan Lucas was another guy that we didn't even mention, outside that 3-run shot, that in the last 2 weeks, he's literally single-handedly won us ball games that, as we have now get to sit here in hindsight and go, holy crap, if that didn't happen, we would have been playing in the wild card. And like Ben Nicholson-Smith said today in his article, it's not as simple as this, but Sunday's win and winning this division basically doubled your odds to win the World Series.
Yeah. One more thing, just to tie the bow on all this stuff before we go into more substantive stuff and predictive stuff. I think it's truly remarkable how in a matter of 6 months, the whole health of this organization has just flipped on its head. You think of where we were 6 months ago, and now all of a sudden, not only is the team in the position they are, where they're number 1 in the AL East, they have a very real shot at going and competing for a World Series title. I think if you're to project this franchise moving forward, they made a big commitment when it came to paying Vladimir Guerrero Jr. And remember, that's not something that the front office did. The front office did not want to pay Vlad that money. It was ownership that stepped up and said, you know what? We're going to give him a contract that's going to put us over the top into an echelon that we've never seen before. And in that period of time, since they've given out that contract, they are now one of the best teams in baseball with a legitimate shot. You have a fan base that's absolutely rabid. They're showing up to the games, the ad revenue, the gate revenue, everything's through the roof. You can make a real argument that the health of the franchise as a whole, and this is a team that's won back-to-back World Series, has never been more healthy than it is right now. I fully expect they have a lot of key free agents, Bo Bichette, Shane Bieber. I fully expect them to retain both of them in the offseason and also make moves around the edges to make them even better than they are next year. I think that from now on, and this year was sort of the trailblazer year, I think you can expect the Toronto Blue Jays to be right up there with the short list of contenders, with the Yankees, with the Dodgers, with the Phillies, with the Red Sox, all those teams that are competing year in and year out for World Series titles. I see no reasons why the Jays can't be that team for at least the next decade.
No. Yeah, and like you said, health doesn't necessarily come to how often do you win the division in a 5-year span or in a 10-year span. That 90s Jays, as we know, not only did they win 2 World Series, they dominated that division in that decade and in the 5 years previous. Health,
first part of the decade,
health in this economy is if you're willing to spend the big dollars, and the Jays have been, working around the edges to be a top 7 payroll in baseball for the last handful of years. But the commitment to Vladimir Guerrero Jr. suggests that they aren't going to get outbid on the players that they actually want. Right. And the Ohtanis of the world got a contract from the Jays that was very competitive. If the Dodgers didn't move mountains to get Ohtani, he was coming to Toronto. Same with Juan Soto. If Steve Cohen wasn't willing to overpay Juan Soto more than what Shohei Ohtani got, he was coming to Toronto. Like the Jays.
There's one guy that can outbid them. That's the guy.
Exactly. That's the guy. But the point is that, like Rob said, the health of this organization has now come down to dollars and cents. And when it comes to key free agents like Bo Bichette and Shane Bieber, in a couple of years, Dalton Varsho, and as we just saw this year, Alejandro Kirk, we didn't even let it become a conversation. Spending money in all likelihood, means you're going to win baseball games. And there's no reason to commit $500 million to a player over the next decade, plus, if you aren't willing to do that year in and year out.
You brought up Steve Cohen. And I find it quite funny how
it didn't work out for him.
Tough one, bud. The Cincinnati Reds, who played 40-40 baseball through the final 80 games of the schedule, passed you, and the Mets didn't make it, which is just bananas.
Yeah.
But you guys brought up health of the organization. I want to bring up the health of this team because
physical health, it's a different story.
With them, like Cole mentioned right off the top, 20 more wins than last year. Your key free agent, Santander, has been a pumpkin all year and played 53 ball games.
Yep.
Your Gold Glove center fielder, Dalton Varsho, played 70 ball games. You missed Bo Bichette the final 3 weeks of the season in a pennant race. And they found a way to do it. Yeah. It's remarkable. And the first guy I want to talk about is George Springer, guys. I mean, look, he's going to get MVP conversation. Obviously, he's not going to win, and we all know this. Yeah. But
he'll get votes,
absolutely, he's going to get votes. 306 average, 395 on base, 553 slug, 948 OPS, 31 homers, 27 doubles, drove in 82, scored 104 runs, caught one stealing bases, stole 17 bags, walked 65 times. I mean, it's ridiculous what he put together this season. Easily the Blue Jays MVP. Yeah. And I mean, who in their right mind saw this coming?
I mean, obviously the answer is nobody, and there's no trash cans involved this year, so I don't know how he did it. Because, other than this, the only career highs that are comparable to this year was 2017, and we all know what happened that year. So
he's had a good year since then. That's not entirely fair.
No, the only comparables to career highs, I said.
Fair enough. Okay.
Which is the case. Yeah. So, in fact, the only year he had more home runs than he had this year was 2017. Just to put it out there for everybody. Anyways, not only all of that, unprecedented. We wrote him off at the beginning of the year, and he's going to be in our over-unders, as some of you may know. Where does his season rank in WRC Plus in Blue Jays history? I sent this into the chat today, but for the people that are now watching this podcast or listening to the podcast, and I assume James and Rob, you know the answer. Okay, so you didn't look at it. Okay.
A busy day today.
So number one was Jose Bautista. I don't know.
2011, right? 2011, right?
I assume so. I actually don't have the years pulled up with me or the graphic, and that's on me. But second was Carlos Delgado. Third, I think was I'm missing somebody. Anyways, point is George Springer was fourth, tied with Vladimir Guerrero Jr.'s 2021 season with a 166 WRC plus. That is absolutely bonkers. 166 plus. If it wasn't for Aaron Judge somehow finding a way to be a better hitter than what he was previously, that was Aaron Judge numbers 3 years ago. Literally some of the best numbers in all of baseball, and George Springer did it at age 36 or whatever he is.
It's crazy because, too, remember a year ago at this time, we were sitting there and thinking there's 3 years left in this contract. This contract, it's about to be an albatross. It's about to be a legitimate impingement on this team to make any moves moving forward. It's going to clog up the entire budget, and now you have no choice but to have a black hole in your lineup every single day for the next 3 years. And all of a sudden, we're not even talking about salary dumps or any of that crap, where George Springer's penciled in as your leadoff hitter in 2026. There's no doubt about it. It's just so incredible. Two is that I think so many people coming into this year would have said, and I think projection had a lot to do with it, that the George Springer contract would have been sort of seen as a failure in terms of the eyes of what Mark Shapiro and Ross Atkins did. Now, all of a sudden, through one season, not only is it not a failure, it's a resounding success. If he continues to have all these clutch moments and have a big playoff moment, which it feels like he's due for one, for sure, considering how well he's been, at least one.
And how clutch he's been.
And not only that, but you saw yesterday just the vibes he brings to the team. Obviously the offensive performer, coming out shirtless and swearing on Sportsnet TV. It's just for George Springer would have gone into one of the worst contracts in Blue Jays history a year ago in the conversation to now all of a sudden a guy who is going to be celebrated in Toronto for the remainder of his time. I was just going to say, and after that.
He's going to go down as one of the most memorable Blue Jays in the history of this franchise.
Dude's talking about riding a police horse down Bremner. I mean, are you nuts? We love that shit. Absolutely. Yeah, exactly. Give him one.
And I just got a notification from the Toronto Blue Jays Twitter, and it's funny because it kind of coincides with our over-unders. We said how many All-Stars would we have this year? The line was 3.5, and we ended up having 2. Guess how many guys are on the All-MLB ballot?
4.
Yeah, I'm gonna say 4.
5.
Okay.
5 Blue Jays are on the All-MLB ballot. I assume that doesn't mean they're locked in as one of the first or second team All-NBA players or All-MLB players. But there's 5 candidates for this team, and I think
Who's the 5th guy? Who's the 5th guy? So the 4 are obvious, right? You have Springer, Bo, Vlad, and Kirk. So who's the 5th guy? Would it be Barger?
No.
I'll pull up Twitter.
I wouldn't think so, right?
Would be Gauze?
I'm trying to think who the 5th. Oh, maybe Gosman. Maybe it could be Gauze.
That was
Yeah,
my thought.
could be Gauze. Could be Gauze.
I don't know, but staying on the George Springer front, you know what's remarkable, and I know we love looking at OPS plus because it kind of coincides with the rest of the. This is his highest OPS plus of his career, and like 161 OPS plus, considering his previous high in 2019 with the Astros of a 974 OPS that year was 150. I mean, it's ridiculous stuff, man. Yeah, George Springer, just turning back the clock. Dave Popkins. Got to salute that guy. I mean, all the talk about Guillermo Martinez over the years, and we've all seen that one video, that old guy in the stand, fire Martinez, and it's an absolute legendary video. But hey, he got his wish. It kind of worked.
Okay, so who was your guesses?
We said.
I said the 4. So the 4 guys were So it was Bo, Vlad, Kirk, Springer, and Gauze, right? Those are the 5.
Those are the 5. Yeah.
I thought so.
Yeah.
Also, like we talked about George's resurgence. I mean, we talked about it before the season, right? We needed some sort of surprise. And my God, it wasn't just one surprise. However, the emergence of Addison Barger hitting 21 homers this year, remarkable. Ernie Clements probably going to get the utility gold glove this year. You had the kind of resurgence a little bit, a good amount of Davis Schneider, right? And Miles Straw being a quite a good deal now that we're looking at it.
Very good. Excellent value they got.
You got the international signing bonus to sign it was the Japanese player they got as well. So there's the money as well going into that kid. Wouldn't that be something? But Nathan Lucas as well. I mean, there's just so many names good on the list. You have Kevin Barker loves saying 26 against 1. That's what this team is. Yeah. It's like it's not one dude. They will bludgeon you to death with good ABs.
And I think we'd be remiss if this is actually a guy that I'm going to shout out who I mentioned earlier, but has had a bit of an up and down year. Results were up and down, but you think of so many big spots. Mason Fluharty striking out Ohtani, but also the game yesterday. You have Jonathan Aranda at the plate with the bases loaded. I mean, Buck said it on the broadcast, and I thought he was a little insane when he said this could be the ball game right here. I thought it was a little hyperbole for a top of the 4th inning at bat within the 5-4 game when you knew offense was going to come at a premium, or pardon me, at a discount that game. But it was because he struck out Jonathan Aranda, and then the Jays just never looked back. The bullpen was perfect the rest of the way. They scored a bunch more insurance runs. And on Friday night, I know, Pricey, you were there. The bullpen was shot after a bullpen day the day before, and he gave 6 outs, clean, neat, and tidy. Beautiful. I think that Mason Fluharty, having the season he had, and Brendan Little too, I know he gives us a heart attack, but the lefty specialist role had been such a problem for this team for years and years. Really, if I'm being completely honest, aside from Tim Mays' run in 2021, they really hadn't had a consistent lefty since Brett Cecil, and the fact that they were able to stabilize that this year, I thought to me that was very impressive.
So, quick thing on Fluharty. Sleeper Blue Jays tweets this out. Mason Fluharty on August 1st gave up 4 runs on 2 homers in 2/3 of an inning against the Kansas City Royals. Since then, he's gotten 12 2/3, an ERA of 0.71, a whip of 0.63, 13 punch-outs, a 0.26 batting average. Like, again, I think they have, and he has allowed just 1 base runner in the whole month of September.
Yeah.
What? Not
last 35 batters, 1 hit, a single.
Base runner.
He's allowed 1 single. That's the only hit that he's allowed in the last 35 hitters.
It's absolutely bananas. And look at the moments he's come into. You mentioned it, Rob. Not only did he strike out Ohtani, he had to face Mookie Betts next.
Yep.
And he got him to ground out to end that ball game. Where Jeff Hoffman was completely crapping down his leg and walked the house. And yesterday, you mentioned it, like Buck said on the broadcast. I mean, God, you come into a base-loaded situation with 2 out, you're up a run with their best hitter at the plate, arguably, if you want to say that, him or Caminero. But he comes in and strikes him out on 3 pitches. I mean, good morning, good afternoon, good night, pal. It's just remarkable stuff. And I would be – hey, Cole, do you want to say anything about Flu, or can I go to the next guy?
No, Fluharty party, baby.
We haven't talked about him yet, but the guy who closed that game yesterday
Yes.
Eric Lauer.
Yep.
Yeah.
Early on in this season, we talk about the turning point being Bo's 2-run homer against the homer against the Texas Rangers and all that. But my God, when let's be honest, Kevin Gausman to start the year, not great, right? Chris Bassett, as per usual, doesn't start a year great. Has a good first 3-4 starts and then just completely craps down his leg for a month. It just happens. The up and down with Jose Barrios all year. Max Scherzer not being here, and they're like, Eric Lauer, because Bowden Francis just completely stinks. And he completely shoved and basically saved this rotation through the first 2-3 months of the year.
100% saved. I don't even think it's not even basically. Without Eric Lauer, this rotation wouldn't have made it to September.
Absolutely not.
100%.
I mean, he pitched 103 innings for us. 103 innings for a dude who was pitching in Korea last year.
Yep, that's more innings than Max Scherzer.
Yeah, and at the same time too with Max Scherzer, obviously, I think Max Scherzer right now, we all kind of acknowledge that I'm not sure he has anything left to give. If I'm being completely honest, I can't remember the last time I've seen a human manifestation of a player who has just run out of gas completely. But I think one thing we got to say, he did a great job of stabilizing this rotation from when he came back at the end of June up until September. Back when he hit this rut, he did a great job of stabilizing this rotation. I know that, yes, is it worth the $15.5 million? Probably not, objectively. But at the same time, I think that we ought to give him a little bit of a toast to how he was able to do that and provide value for this team. We can't remember. And I was one of the people who said he should start a playoff game not that long ago. And obviously, the stretch, a month of that has completely put that off the table. But I think that that's just a testament to how good he actually was for a stretch there that we thought Max Scherzer had turned back the clock, and he did really for a couple months there. So it's always cool to have a Hall of Famer on your team, but especially one that could contribute meaningfully was also cool as well.
Do you think when you mentioned how can't remember the last person or last player to kind of just show that he's done right at the end of the year, does that not give me Mark Burley vibes right at the end there? Sure. I mean, that was kind of the thing, right? Trying to get through the innings against Tampa, just to try and get him to 200 innings. They just couldn't do it. That was sad.
That was in game 162 as well, and they just gave a really bad taste getting into the postseason, I remember.
Yeah, so we can sit here and reminisce about this beautiful ball club all year long. We haven't talked about Jeff Hoffman because that's not the positive side of it. So we're going to stay away from that. Cole, you want to hit the over-unders before we talk about what's to come for this
team? So we had 10 over-unders to start the year. We updated it a couple times throughout the season. And now we can officially say they are done. So now we can get definitive results. No more on pace, just what happened. Starting it off with the $500 million player himself, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Rob set the line for his baseball reference WAR at 5.25. Vlad finished with a WAR of 4.5. James had the over, I had the over, and Rob had the under, so Rob gets that one.
Let's be honest, he was probably on pace for it until the last month of the damn year.
He was on pace for it until the last. He was on pace for basically on the dot. He was like 5.3 on the dot. But then last month
bit of a strange year for Vlad. I think that for the most part, if you were to basically freeze frame his season from the start up until September the 7th, I think we all would agree this was a really good year for Vlad. But I think to me, contextually, the last 2 weeks of the year underperforming like he was when the team was really struggling, I think that you have no choice but to knock down his season a few pegs. Still, obviously, a very good year. A 4.5 WAR on Baseball Reference is an incredibly productive year for Vlad. Anybody, really. But yes, I think that when you're in the context of $500 million and considering when we needed him the most, he came a little short. Even yesterday, the hit that he got, a bit of a jam shot that found open grass. So hopefully this rest does good for Vlad. But ultimately, I would say a solid but a little underwhelming year for Vlad.
One thing I did like about Vlad's season, man, is that regardless of what he's doing at the plate, that defense didn't waver. I looked at it yesterday, right? He made some nice plays down the line, short hops, which are not easy, and then having to make those. I thought he'd be again. I don't know what the stats say what the fancy tacky numbers look like, but defensively, very good. Yeah, defensively, I thought he had a great year. So I like that he didn't take it out to the field, kind of flushed it and moved on. So that's key.
It's a bad time to ask me about Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Because he's been the person I've been watching the most during September, and it obviously has not been good. So all I will say is this: it won't matter if you give me a moment in October.
Why do you think Leaf fans don't care about Matthews scoring 70 freaking goals again? Goals again.
Exactly.
They want to see it in a game 7. So same thing here. Vladdy goes out there against the Yankees and hits 3 bombs. Yeah, no one's gonna care what happened in the 162, bud.
Yep, exactly.
That's the thing when it comes to evaluating a season. I know we have all these numbers that tell you how you've been in the regular season, but contextually, you have a lot of time to change the narrative, Vlad.
Oh,
You
yeah.
have a few postseason moments, and all of a sudden, the narrative flips like that. David Price was a choker until he wasn't, until he had a great World Series.
Look at a guy like David Freese.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, absolute legend in the postseason.
Oh, but that David Freese is one of my childhood heroes. That was one of the first World Series I ever watched, and watching him beat the Texas Rangers at the World Series. I think that's one of my all-time favorite World Series moments for sure. The home run that he hit off former Blue Jay Mark Lowe in Game 6, I'll remember that to this day.
Yeah, beautiful.
Next up, Max Scherzer innings pitched. We set the line at 109.5, and obviously at a few points during our check-ins, it didn't look like we were going to get anywhere close to that. But then we actually got reasonably close. So not a bad line, not a great line, but not a bad line. He ended up with 85 innings pitched, which I feel like maybe that's where the line should have been at the beginning of the year. But obviously, hindsight.
I'm guessing we said the under, right?
Hindsight is 20/20. I said the over because I didn't make a whole lot of sense here. We'll see at the end how that worked out. But James had the under, Rob had the under. You both got it.
I'm not like you mentioned 85 being a proper number. Considering that he got to 85 with what he dealt with last year and the start of this season, the fact that he got there, I mean, kudos.
So Prof is following the Cincinnati Bengals format of starting 0-2. So let's see what they're doing.
Means you're gonna win a bunch in a row now. Is that what we're doing?
I guess technically it gets better from here for me, but we'll see. Gausman ERA plus. The line is the best line we had in all 10. The line was set at 118.5, and his ERA plus. Line. Yeah, and his ERA plus was 119.
Boom.
Insane. I saw it this morning.
Over. James had the over. I had the over. Rob had the over. A clean sweep on Gausman having a Gausman-esque season, and he actually did it. He was never on pace for it until
yesterday. But
yeah, exactly. He had to have a Nolan Ryan September, but he did. Anthony Santander home runs. Yikes. Maybe the worst line. Maybe the worst line we set. 32.5 home runs. I had the over. James had the under. Rob had the over. He finished with 6, so James gets that one.
I mean, I guess I win, but he only had 6, so it kind of stinks.
Yeah. James gets credit for the win, but obviously James would have assumed he would have gotten more than 6.
Yeah.
So, Professor, did we all take the over on Gausman?
Yeah.
Okay. Got you.
Springer at bats was next. The line, and I think I've said at bats before. Obviously, we meant plate appearances.
Yeah.
So Springer plate appearances. The line was set at 514.5, which was a hell of a number for a guy that was we wanted just off the chopping block at the beginning of the year. James had the over. I had the under. Rob had the over. George Springer had 586 plate appearrances. Yeah,
and that's with 20 missed games too, but due to injury.
Yeah,
which was big in my prediction as well.
Cage Stroud just beaming him in the dome.
Ridiculous. So yeah, Rob, James, you get it. Bullpen.
Oh yeah.
Fangraphs War.
Yes.
One of our underrated lines. We set the line at 18.5, which meant 18th in the league, ranked in the league. So if you had the under, you were expecting them to be better than 18th in the league. If you had the over, you were expecting them to be worse than 18th in the league. And James and Rob had the under, so they were anticipating a better bullpen. I had the over, and they finished 17th. 17th. I thought that the last 2 months since like our last check-in that I was like, I'm gonna get this. This bullpen's on fire. Like they're on literal on fumes. Yeah, a little garbage fire.
A dumpster fire. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, dumpster fire. And unfortunately, it didn't get to the number that I needed it to get to. So
I mean, hey, fortunately, if the number got to where you needed to, we would be previewing a game tomorrow.
That's true.
Yeah.
Bo Bichette hits. Missed the last 3 weeks of the season. The line set at 176.5. I had the over. James had the over. And Rob had the under. He finished with 181 hits.
Oh, that's a good line too, though.
Yeah.
That's a good line too. Okay.
You know what's bananas? Bo led the league in hits up until yesterday.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Crazy. So James and I get that one. The
So
surprise.
I believe because I'm trying to keep score right now. I think
No, I
me
got
and
it.
Bryce are tied.
Rob, I got it.
Okay, got you.
Yeah, I got the score at the end. Surprise OPS candidate, OPS plus candidate, I should say.
Oh boy,
Was somebody on this team going to have 350 at bats while also finishing with a 110 OPS plus?
And we didn't get it, did we?
And we didn't get it. Barger
That's crazy.
finished with 21 home runs. He finished with 500 plate appearances, but a 105 OPS plus.
This felt like a lock a month ago.
Yeah.
If you look at where Addison Barger was trending,
yeah.
but yeah, like he had a bit of definitely had a bit of a slide. I think I think at one point where he had like an OPS plus close to like 130, which was like insane.
Yeah,
but yeah,
James was the only one. James was the only one who predicted this. He said that wouldn't happen, and it didn't happen. All-Stars, 3.5. We knew this line
done.
2 months ago. We set the line at 3.5. James said under. Rob said under. I said over. We had 2 All-Stars. Alejandro Kirk, Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
How George Springer wasn't an all-star is still criminal, though, to this day.
That's crazy.
Yeah, criminal. Yeah. Criminal. I still would have been wrong.
With Gosman, you kind of get it because he didn't really turn up until the second half of the year.
Yeah.
And kind of similar to Bo, if you remember, he had a bit of a decent but not quite great season. It was sort of around the same time when they both popped off. So I think 3 would have been the appropriate number for sure.
Yep. And I was wrong. The wins set at 85.5, which I believe was 1 win higher than the actual over-under was set. I had the under. James had the over, and Rob had the under. And of course, as we've discussed, we finished with 9 wins more than that. 94 wins on the season. James somehow saw that coming. But
like I said, like my whole reasoning behind is like they were not going to be a middling team. It's either they're selling off everybody or they're going for it, and they damn well went for it.
And they went for it. And that finishes off the over-under. So for anybody counting at home, you know where I'm going with this. And the winner of our preseason over-unders is James with a whopping 9-1 record.
Which one did I get wrong?
That's crazy.
The only one he got wrong was Vladdy. Was Vladdy War. It's the only one he got wrong.
That's okay.
Price knows his ball club well. What I find hilarious too out of all this is that I remember when we were doing this. I remember Prof was very high on this team. He took all the overs. And you're like, he's gonna have this great season, and yet they actually did have this great season that you were kind of
everything.
You got all the over-unders wrong, which is insane to think about how like if you would have told me this team won 94 games, I would have taken all the overs that you took. If I'm being honest with you. That's crazy how it didn't happen that way.
Not only did it not happen that way, in second place, Rob with a 6-4 record. And me in last with a 2-8 record.
The only gambling man on the show.
Only gambling man on the show. 2-8. How did they win 94 games and I didn't get any of these correct? I don't understand.
One thing I do want to say, though, I remember for Blue Jay Center on Instagram, we did put up our bold predictions at the start of the year. And I can't remember what you guys said exactly, but I'm happy to say that mine came true. I said that Vlad wouldn't make it to free agency, that they would find a way to sign him before. Yeah. And I was right about that. So I will say that. I know that. I know because that was confirmed in the first week. So I've been sitting on that one for a while. But I'll say that.
We have to pull that back up because I forget what I said.
All I remember Rob sitting at Dimitri's and I said 500 million for Vlad. I remember that.
You did say that. You did, and I said you were crazy. I remember saying you were crazy, and that would end up being the actual number.
That's
wild.
Pretty good over-unders. For 3 guys, we covered all bases. We covered 90th percentile, 50th percentile, and the 1 percentile. We covered it all.
All right, boys, let's get to the fun stuff of what's to come. The regular season, the 162 games was fun. It was it was stressful as well, but that's September baseball when it means something to you. It's going to be stressful, but now the real season begins. As Kawhi said before the playoffs, it was just warm up for the postseason. And that's what it is.
Freudian slip with Kawhi with all that's going on.
Yeah, I was going to say, Kawhi's quite the pull today. as he literally came out today and said, I admit to nothing. I mean,
I was
going to say that. Oh,
whatever.
Yeah.
I don't care. It's 2019. Damn it. Get clear with it. There, yeah. See, there he is. Anyways,
On your wall.
Of
Crazy.
course, because yes, you brought the only freaking happy time
Yeah,
to
fair,
this damn
fair,
city.
fair, fair
Anyways,
enough.
moving forward, Saturday, the Blue Jays obviously in the ALDS. That's game one. Question is, who do they see? Now, game one of the wild card series between the Yankees and the Red Sox goes tomorrow. Question I got to ask for you guys, and I already know both your answers, but I want to hear your thoughts on it. Rob, we'll start with you. Who do you want to see, Yankees or Red Sox?
I think starting
First
the
of all-
Rubs a good idea too. Just
Yep, I know why.
Yeah.
First of all, let me couch by saying it really doesn't matter. I think that every time we've done this exercise and I'd rather play this team. I want this team to lose so we can play them. It never goes well. I think that's the worst thing you can do.
Let me make it very
lost.
clear. Let me make this very
what's
clear to everybody listening. I think we're all in lockstep with this. I don't give a rat's ass who we face. Okay.
Yeah.
They're both good and bad in different freaking ways. And they're this team's got this, but this team's got this. So I don't care. I think we can all agree on that, but there's obviously slights here and there. So Rob, what do you got?
Well, funny enough, we finished 8-5 against both of them.
There you go.
Yeah, crazy. It's similar sequences too. I think we lost the last series of the year and dominated the other three. I think something like that. So that's pretty unique. So again, couching by saying it doesn't really matter. I think it's like you mentioned, Price. You said it perfectly. Both teams are really talented teams. They're both going to be really tough. They're obviously division rivals. They know the Jays very well. It's going to be difficult regardless who they draw. That being said, I think the Yankees are definitely the tallest task for the Blue Jays. I think that would be a much more difficult matchup. I think that I've been consistent all along. I think the Yankees are the most talented team in the American League. I think that if a baseball season was 165 games instead of 162, we'd be playing in the wild card. That doesn't matter, obviously, because the game's 162, and we're the best team after 162. So that's all I care about right now. But that being said, you look at that lineup, and I mentioned this. They're first in all of baseball in WRC+. The difference between them and the number 2 team is the same difference as the number 2 team and the number 7 team. So that just goes to show how head and shoulders they are above the rest of the field. They have a higher WRC plus than the 2021 Blue Jays, for a point of reference, who obviously we all know we're just the best lineup we've ever seen.
Yeah, 2 MVP candidates.
2 MVP candidates and a whole lot more else. I think you have a pitching staff that's kind of came into form. Luis Hill had missed the entire year for the Yankees. He's come back, and while his stuff hasn't quite been as good, he's still a guy who's been much better as of late. Cam Schlittler, a guy who throws hard, doesn't get barreled. He's been really good, aside from that start against the Blue Jays, who touched them up earlier this month. And obviously the two-headed monster of Rodon and Free, the 2 lefties. The Blue Jays specifically, I think their lineup against lefties is a little thin. You can't utilize Addison Barger, Joey Loperfido, Nathan Lucas, all those guys, even Anthony Santander is a guy who hits better from the left side. So I think that would be a worse matchup for us. And I've never seen a team have this much power from the left side. You have 4 legitimate guys who, if they play a full season's workload, would have had 30-plus home runs. I think 3 of them actually did. Guys like Grisham, Rice, Bellinger, and Jazz Chisholm. And obviously the 2 right-handed monsters, Aaron Judge is the biggest cat of them all, and Giancarlo Stanton, who is hitting a similar home run pace to Judge, just hasn't played the amount of games. That lineup mashes. That pitching staff is really good. That bullpen is a lot better now with David Bednar as their established closer. That's a really good baseball team. That's not a team I would love to face. Whereas the Red Sox, on the other hand, I think a big reason why people detract the Yankees is their defense. And I counter by saying it's true. They're not a good defensive team, but neither are the Boston Red Sox, who we saw just this past week how they can fumble the ball around the infield a lot, and they don't have the same offensive profile as the Yankees. They do have arguably the best pitcher in baseball right now, and Garrett Crochet gave us the heebie-jeebies last week. But other than that, I think their rotation is more than gettable. I think that they're not as deep. I think the bullpen is obviously very good, but I think all in all, when balancing the scales, I think the Yankees are the better team. The Red Sox, ever since Roman Anthony went down, their offense has taken a bit of a step back. I don't really care who we play, but if I had to choose one, gun to my head, I think the Red Sox would provide us with a better matchup.
I think it makes sense to go me next, as I am picking the Red Sox. And here's the thing: It's not that I necessarily disagree with anything Rob just said. I'm obviously a very analytically minded baseball fan, and
I only deal in facts, Prof.
yeah, and all of
It's
the
not arguing
baseball.
with me; it's arguing with science.
Yeah, and all of the baseball savant numbers would probably tell you that the New York Yankees, or would all in all likelihood tell you that the New York Yankees are statistically a significantly better ball club. Rob mentioned the WRC plus, but that's not all that they're very good in. Top one in hard hit percentage. They are also top one in home runs hit, and they are also top 3 in OBP, and they're top 1 in WAR. Like their Fangraphs WAR as a team, they're number 1 overall. So it's not that I think that the Red Sox are necessarily a statistically better team. It's that I've seen too many times this year a New York Yankees team blow a multi-run lead late in the game. That bullpen, yes, is on paper significantly better than it was in the first half of the season with their deadline acquisitions. Those deadline acquisitions have been downright terrible outside of David Bednar in the last, month and change in the season. And they've just continued to blow leads on top of the fact that they're one of the worst defensive teams in baseball. So it's just a team that I simply, and I know this is going to go against everything I am as a baseball fan, I don't trust. I can't put my money or my logic on the New York Yankees to win a playoff series, period. And on top of that, they have to play a wild card series. Maybe if they were playing a 5-game set against the Red Sox, I would lean the Yankees. You get 2 extra games of wiggle room. But you're telling me you got to go game 1 against Garrett Crochet? Like, in my opinion, that's a loss. Like, it's one of the 3 to 4 best pitchers in all of baseball, and Max Fried against that lineup, the Red Sox lineup, not very good. Not very good. The Crochet against this Yankees lineup, guess what Judge is? He's like 2 for 13 with 11 strikeouts.
I know. He strikes out like crazy against him. He's his daddy. I know that.
So here's my thing. I think Garrett Crochet beats them tomorrow. Now it's about whether or not you can win the next 2 games. And in my opinion, if I'm already getting 1 win in my favor, then I have to take that team. So that's the only reason. It's not really a logical one. Over a 5-game set, like I said, I'd probably pick the Yankees. But in a wild card series, give me the Boston Red Sox.
But Prof, you mentioned, sorry, just before you go, Pricey. The question was, who would you rather the Jays play? Not who do you think is going to win the series between the Red Sox and the Yankees? Like the case you're making, it sounds like, I think the Red Sox are going to win because one game's going to be pitched by Garrett Crochet, and I agree with you. I think that that's a very legitimate opinion, but I think that's not that's not really pertinent to the question.
And the team I'd rather face is the Yankees, but I don't think we'll face them.
Fair enough. Okay.
I'd rather face the Yankees because of the fact of how we handled them this year in our building and their building, and because anytime late in the game, when conveniently the Jays offense decides to show up most of the time, they have guys going out there that are going to help us get those runs back. So I think that this Jays team matches up well against their bullpen, and the Jays led the league in comeback wins, and probably ranked top 5, top 10 in the last quarter century in comeback wins in a season. We finished with 49 on the year. Absolutely ridiculous. I think that this team matches up well against the Yankees because I think the Yankees will shit down their pants.
Yeah.
But it's the Jays. It's also the Jays.
Are you not worried that a left-handed hitting power lineup against a right-handed throwing pitching staff who gives up barrels is not a bad matchup? Because I'm a little worried about that.
I would like to, and I didn't. I did kind of. Not only do the Yankees rank number 1 in WRC Plus in all of baseball, but they also rank number 1 in WRC Plus on the road. So it's not necessarily that they've gained a lot of, Yankee Stadium merchant with their offensive numbers this year. But a lot of it is
WRC Plus factors in ballpark factors, so that would have been captured in the stat.
Yeah, but obviously the number is still different on the road than what it is at home.
It's going to be lower, yeah.
Or
I think it's
overall.
universally lower, yeah.
Yeah, so anyways. And
You're sure, Price. I know we've been stealing your thunder a bit. You go ahead, buddy.
No, it's okay.
Anyways, I just Aaron Judge is the one guy you worry about. If you can handle Aaron Judge, which the Jays at some points have this season, then you're probably better off matchup wise in the late innings.
Yeah, buddy, we're gonna see a lot of force put up. I'll tell you what. But anyways, I'm all, like again, you flip a freaking coin for me, but I'm leaning the way of Cole, where I would ever so slightly lead the New York Yankees to want the Jays to face them, I guess. For the fact of, yes, Cole mentioned Garrett Crochet. You would have to see him twice in this 5-game series. You got to win 3 games.
Yep.
Now, yes, Rob, you talked about Rodon. You talked about Free. You talked about Luis Hill, all this stuff. We have also seen the Blue Jays tee off on multiple times this year, Max Fried. We have watched them wear Carlos Rodon down to nothing in games at Rogers Center, because that's where it's going to start, and that's where it could finish, is at Rogers Center. Luis Hill, you mentioned. I mean, the question for him was always going to be command. So will he be able to? The Jays, I think, with their approach that they have, especially going into the postseason, could match up well. Their bullpen, it's massive question marks all around. Look, do you trust Bednar? Yeah, of course you do, because he's a dog. He's an absolute stud. Do you trust anybody else in the bullpen? If you're a Yankee fan, do you trust Devin Williams right now? Obviously not. Do you trust Camilo Duvall? No. Jake Bird's in AAA. Do you trust Luke Weaver? Oh, you mean the guy that gave up a grand slam to George Springer on Canada Day? Yeah. Okay.
He's been bad lately too. He's been
exactly
in September,
right. Yeah. So again, what do they trust out of their bullpen other than David Bednar?
A lot.
You mentioned bullpen. You mentioned defense. We saw what they did at Rogers Center and what this crowd did to them. I mean, it wore them down to nothing. Now, again, it's postseason. It's all this different stuff. I get that completely. And this is all, I'm not throwing any numbers at you. I'm just giving you raw stuff.
Right,
and that's
vibes.
what I love to do. Yeah. Because that's what they got to go into. I mean, we watched what happened to Aaron Judge in the postseason last year. Completely crapped down his leg and made one of the most basic plays into an error, which led to you losing and giving up a World Series.
Yep.
You know, and it happens. So I look at the Boston Red Sox and I'm like, I do not want to see Garrett Crochet twice. Because if you lose both, great, you got to win all 3 against Giolito and Bayo. Now, is that more feasible than facing a Rodon or Luis? It's possible.
It's possible.
You mentioned the Red Sox, Rob, having a horrific defense in the infield. Yes, but they also have one of the best defensive outfields in baseball. So there's that to it as well. And that bullpen is very good.
Number two in WAR.
Right. Very, very good.
Led by the best reliever in baseball, we're being honest.
Right. So you're partnering Crochet, who, again, you're going to see twice, regardless if, let's say, it's game 1 against the Yankees, so you may see him game 2 against the Blue Jays. You're seeing game 2 and 5, right? And then you've got that guy at the end of the bullpen. So there's 2 games that you, like, I hate to say it like this, but you're kind of chalking up as losses already.
I do.
I don't want to deal with that. Do I trust the Blue Jays more to attack a Fried, a Rodon, than I do a Crochet with that bullpen? 100%. Absolutely. Now, am I shit scared about that offense for the Yankees? You're damn right I am. You're damn right I am.
Yep. Here's the thing.
Pick your poison. That's why I flip a coin.
Yeah, and I think that this isn't actually factored into the odds, but like the Jays were the best home team in baseball, so you win the division. Obviously, you get home field advantage, which wouldn't have happened simply if you lost 1 game of the last 4 of the regular season, like we previously mentioned. But the one thing that the Jays have attributed to their home success this year is what they have in their clubhouse.
The trajectory machine.
Exactly. The pitching machine that literally simulates any pitcher in all of baseball with their windup. Exactly how you're going to see the ball on game day from any pitcher in all of baseball. Now you're telling me that this Jays team gets a week to do that off of Max Fried and Carlos Rodon and Luis Hill and Cam Schlittler. The fact that they get to do that for a week and prepare for these guys after they already showed us that through 94 games, or I guess whatever, however many, 50, I think it was 51 or 52 wins at home, that they showed us they can do that and they can prepare for the guys at home. I think that ever so slightly gives them an extra edge with facing the New York Yankees.
I think one thing that you guys mentioned, I think it is a good point. The Blue Jays have done a good job against ace-level pitchers all season long, but I think the one guy that actually they look legitimately overmatched and had no shot against was Garrett Crochet last week. I mean, that game, they had legitimately no shot. I've never seen the Blue Jays look so helpless all year, and this is a team that actually did a good job. They did a good job against Crochet actually early in the year, back in April, but think of all the names and all the names that they've beaten up on over the years, or pardon me, over the season, I should say. Garrett Crochet has gotten them a few times, and the last start specifically. That
Rob,
I think it's reasonable to look at that start and say, you know what, you don't want to see that twice in a 5-game series.
you mentioned how they got to him early in the year. You mean 7 innings, a 2-run ball? That's getting to him, isn't it?
No. We're talking about the game at Fenway. I think that would have been the second week of the year.
April 29th, they faced.
No. That's at Rogers
Right,
Center. I'm talking
okay,
about
so
in Boston.
5 2/3, 5 hits, 4 runs. Yeah,
That's
only
the one,
one
yeah.
was earned run though, so it must be a debacle behind him. I don't know.
Yeah.
I remember him not looking all that sharp.
It's April, for God's sake.
By the way, you want to talk about moments that was early on in the year? The Blue Jays won a game at Fenway where Easton Lucas matched up against Garrett Crochet. Talk about moments.
Yeah. Here's the other thing, because this question is obviously subjective, and like we said, when it comes to October baseball, it doesn't necessarily come down to the statistics. Who would you rather beat to go to the ALCS? And the answer is the New York Yankees.
It's easily
the Yankees.
No debate. That is no debate.
Exactly. So on top, put the cherry on top. Give me the Yankees and the ALDS.
So last question I got for you guys, and I think we'll wrap it up with it. We've talked about who we would rather see, even though it's who really doesn't matter. Who are your 3 starters, and how are you lining them up?
I'm going, and Dan Shulman actually mentioned this too, but I thought about it before, but he mentioned on the bunker spot today, Shane Bieber's my game 3 starter no matter what, because I think what you want is
100%.
If you want to start Trey Savage or Max Scherzer or Chris Bassett, it has to be a home game for all those guys. I think more so for Bassett and Trey Savage. I think the pitch, the pitching machine or whatever. What's it called again?
Project.
I can't remember, but that I know I just mentioned it just a second ago. I can't believe I forgot it, but Trey Savage being with that weird arm angle and everything, you want him starting a home game. You want him starting a home game for you. Last thing you want to do is have them on their machine work Trey Savage's arm angle and try to get used to him, and it's their first time seeing him. So I do want him starting at home. I want Shane Bieber starting on the road because there's no really weird, funky split going on with him. I think he's just as capable of pitching there as he is at home. And Chris Bassett, of course. I think the Chris Bassett one is the interesting one because obviously I think we all agree.
You haven't, because now you've set it up odd.
Well, for me, it would be Kevin Gosman's going to go in game 1 again on regular rest. We all agree about that, right?
Yeah.
Game 2, I'm going Trey Savage at home. Game 3, I'm going Shane Bieber. And game 4, I'm going to go a bit of a hybrid bullpen game.
Do you go Bassett?
Similar to what we saw Thursday against Boston. Because I don't want to start Chris Bassett on the road. I'm okay with him maybe. The thing is, too,
but then you're not starting Chris Bassett game 5.
No, you're back to Gosman
game 5. I might not have Chris Bassett at all then, if I'm being honest.
I don't know, but I don't know if in a playoff series you can, with this rotation, I don't know if you'll be able to do a bullpen game.
All right, how about this one? Does it matter the matchup? With all the lefties on the Yankees, do you use Bassett there, or do you use a lefty with Eric Lauer?
Not really.
I'm gonna be honest.
I think Chris Bassett in both ballparks against both lineups is not a recipe for success.
It's not great, regardless. Like, let's be honest.
Right. I understand the Yankees have a lot of lefties, so I guess in theory Eric Lauer might work out better there. But even the Red Sox,
open. Do you do exactly what you did against the Red Sox and Louis Varland open?
I use something similar to that. And I think what helps is that you have 2 guaranteed off days in a 5-game series, right? If it gets that long, of course.
Yeah.
So I think that you can kind of get away with a bullpen game every now and then. I do believe a bullpen game gives you a better chance than Bassett on the road, though. I will say that.
So I think you can skip all the above, and it's
Max Scherzer.
No. I have the same 4 starters, but I'm not using a bullpen day. So I go Kevin Gosman game 1, Chris Bassett game 2, Shane Bieber game 3, Trey Savage game 4, Kevin Gosman.
So for you, it doesn't matter that
for me personally, again, I keep looking at it like I can't have Trey Savage's first playoff game be at like Yankee Stadium or Fenway.
An elimination game too, an elimination or a closeout game. It's only 1 or 2.
I can't do that. For me,
also the Traject, what's it called? The Traject machine. They're going to have it in New York if you're going to use them out there.
But he's literally the most unique arm slot in the entire league. I've seen him on the road now. I've seen him at home. He was good in all of his starts. He has the stuff that can play. He has the stuff that can play.
I agree that he can play. For me, I don't need to see Chris Bassett that bad. That's what it comes down to.
It's not that I need to see Chris Bassett that bad. It is that I need to make sure that I'm not using a bullpen day. I can't justify it. I can't say to my fan base that, yeah, you know what, we're gonna do a bullpen game in the fucking ALDS.
They did a bullpen game in a game that would have they lost that game. They would have cost them the division. They
I
were okay doing
know,
it
I
then.
know, no, and I didn't like it then. I didn't like it then at all. Yeah, I
And
actually
it was
would've-
successful. It
Yeah,
was
congrats,
successful.
congrats,
Very
congrats.
successful, actually.
I mean,
Yeah.
the other move is, and I know it's probably not a popular one with what we know about Kevin Gosman, but doing it on short rest for him. I mean,
Short rest, what do you mean?
Kevin
well,
Gausman game
you
4.
have the off day as well.
Like game 1 and game 4. Nah, no, I don't know about that one.
No, that's only it's day 4 for him.
But there's an off day in between there.
No, I know, but game 2 off day. Game 3,
Yeah, game
he
3.
starts on the
Short
fourth
rest.
day.
It's short rest. Yeah.
It's very
it's
short
a
rest.
Short rest. Well,
Yeah.
it's the postseason. Do I trust him on short rest or do I trust Chris Bassett?
No,
There's
I think I'll pull it up right now. You can't
Or a
you,
bullpen day.
you can't trust
Run a
Chris
bullpen
Bassett.
day.
You can't trust Chris Bassett on that.
No,
on
I mean
that
his
short
look, his road numbers have definitely gotten better in the last month or so. But
No,
there's still not-
sorry. You can't trust Kevin Gausman on that short rest. You can't do it.
Okay,
No,
okay, well, how about
we
this?
all know Kevin
How about
Gosman on 6 days rest is ideal, but come postseason time, you just can't have your ace be.
How about this?
6 days rest? You just can't do it.
How about this? What do you think of a mix in between a Chris Bassett start and a bullpen day? Maybe you have Bassett go one time through the order and then bullpen it the rest of the way. No opener.
I think
He's a straight
game
guy.
4, regardless, you got Eric Lauer's got to get in there,
He's
regardless
gonna
of what it
pitch.
is.
He's gonna pitch. Yeah. Oh, here's the thing: if Chris Bassett pitches, he's gonna have a short leash for sure.
Damn right
Being
he
the
is.
fourth guy in every postseason rotation. So
For sure.
yeah, I think it'll be somewhat similar to that.
All right, boys. Well,
So- Kevin Gausman on 4 days rest
probably not great.
is actually really good. But that's on
4 days
4 days rest, which this is only
Regular
3
rest.
days rest.
Regular rest, yeah.
No. Regular rest is 5 days.
No, it's 4 days.
4 days and you pitch on day 5.
Yeah, you pitch on day 5. So okay, so this is then this is the 4 days rest that we're talking about then.
No. Price is suggesting 3 days rest to pitch game 1 and game 4, right?
No, because he
Or
gets
is this
game
there's an
he
off
gets,
day in
he gets
between.
game 2, off day, game 3,
Yep.
day 4.
So
So apparently he did that 8 times this year. He pitched on 4 days rest.
Yep.
552 OPS. Over
That's
5.
regular rest. That's regular rest.
No, you're getting it wrong.
No, I'm not.
are you
I'm
saying
not.
he's pitching
you
on
are.
day 4?
The reason why I know you are is because on 5 days rest, he has 19 appearances, just his entire
Yeah.
career.
Yeah, but that makes sense. That makes sense because you have off days. You have days where you skip the start. You have off days plenty of times. Like most pitchers pitch most of their games on 5 days rest because you don't play every day. You're gonna have off days like splattered throughout the month.
So we're bottom line. I think we'll end it
Hold
off.
on.
Because we're getting redundant, but
No, we're not, because like this says 4 days, comma, GS, which I assume means game started
Yeah.
on the 4th day.
4 days is regular rest. Every starting pitcher at 4 days is a regular rest in the rotation. It's one cycle through. You pitch the first game, you have 4 days rest. You have your 2 starter, your 3 starter, your 4 starter, your 5 starter, and then you're pitching again on day 5.
Right, on day 5.
Cole's talking about him starting
on day 5. So that on
Cole
day
is-
5 is 4 days rest.
Cole, I think, is talking about him starting on day 4.
Right. I think that this
He hasn't started on short rest at any point this season. I don't think. He started on regular rest or an extra day's rest.
Okay, well, regardless, I don't think it matters right now, boys. We're talking about the first 3, and now we've gotten into game 4 and 5 all of a sudden here. So, but I think we can all agree though, games 1 through 3, it's Gosman, Bieber and Trey Savage in any order. I want Trey in game 2. Cole wants him,
me too.
I think, in game 3 or something, but I want him in game 2. I want Biebs on the road in game 3. I'm excited, boys. I'm tingling thinking about it. Playoff baseball is back, but not just playoff baseball. Because guess what? The Jays, and people are going to say, well, they haven't won a playoff game since 2016. Yeah, guess what, sweet cheeks? They haven't been in the ALDS since 2016. And no wild card games this year. Can't lose those if you're not even in them. So here we go. ALDS starts on Saturday. Jays against the Yankees or the Red Sox. Let us know in the comments what you think, who you want. And for myself, I was going to say myself, Robin Tillamon. That doesn't work that way. Myself, James Price, Robin Tillamon, Cole Whiston, and Jimmy behind the scenes. Appreciate you, pal. And as always, go Jays.
Go Jays, baby.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast Blue Jays Center on YouTube, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.